Hello again. I'm continuing to read from my new novel, Lee, and we left off on page 79. I like going to the movies. I have ways of sneaking in. There's side doors to every movie theater, exit doors that people open to leave through. I love to sit in the dark watching that big old screen. It's a whole world, a whole other world up there. I sure hope they never stop having movie theaters. I can get so lost in those stories. The only movies I won't watch are horror because they scare me. No matter how much I tell myself it's not real life, everything I see stays in my head. All other kind of movies are good with me. I like the previews too. Bits and pieces of movies, pretty much they give you the whole story. It's like getting 5 to 10 little movies and then the big featured one. I used to have this client, he liked to go to the movies. He would take me in the dark. After we would watch the movie, he'd buy me popcorn and a drink. I had another client, he liked to go to the symphony. That's how I learned it doesn't matter. They're all the same. It doesn't matter how they're dressed. It doesn't matter their taste in music or movies. They're all naked under their clothes, all soft when you reach inside them. It was important for me to learn this. There's no difference between the guy who took me to the movies and the guy that took me at the symphony. Just more expensive tickets. I'm surprised how much people get away with by how they dress. Surprised that my clients will believe about what my clients will believe about me by how I'm dressed. I guess we all fill in the blanks with what we want to see. It reminds me of the Holocaust, the documentaries. Those Nazis, they loved classical music. They had a ragtag group of Jews, starving them and beating them, ending up killing them, and in the meantime, they listened to them playing the most beautiful classical music. They'd be crying, they'd be so moved by these concerts that they forced those starving Jews to put on. See what I mean? It doesn't matter how fancy and cultured your taste is. I had another client, the artist guy. He would have me pose, paint me, draw me, even did a sculpture once. He was a pretty good artist, I guess, but it's not all he wanted. He liked to draw me in what he called contouring. He would trace his finger all around my body, everywhere, while I laid there in a pose. It's the closest to excited I got while working. He was gentle, had a gentle touch, kind eyes. When he smiled, he looked a little like a Santa Claus, a thin Santa Claus. He couldn't do anything other than touch. He was too old. I had him for a while. Then he got sick, had a bad cough that wouldn't go away. A few of the paintings he did of me were in magazines. He showed them to me the last time I was over. One of the big sculptures he did of me ended up in a museum. I can't remember the name of it, in another city. Some of my clients have been nice people. The older ones are the nicer ones. They've lived life. The artist was a good guy. I miss him, sort of. The old rich guy in Santa Fe reminds me a little of him, except he can use everything he's got, and he doesn't ever look he doesn't ever look me in the eyes. In the old days, women who did what I do, they had 1 or 2 rich clients. I read about it. They were her regulars. They would support her. She wouldn't have to see any new ones. They'd want her all to themselves. They'd treat her good, give her days off. I could take care of the baby if I had one like that. I heard that in other countries it's like that even now. Maybe I could move to one of those countries. The clouds have a pinkish purplish light to them now. I've been out a long time. I covered a lot of ground in a few hours. It's starting to get dark. Nothing's open but the drugstore. Christmas is the most important of all the holidays. You can tell by the stores that are closed. I'm looking forward to my warm house and our own little celebration. Chapter 5. I am happy to be heading home. There's something gritty and real about my town. I was only gone for a week or so, but the snow that didn't come at Christmas sure came after I was gone. The old rich guy took me to some great places. It was a lot warmer there, sunny every day with those big blue skies. He acted more like an old guy this time, older than the last time. I guess a couple of years makes a big difference at his age. He talked about the stuff that interests him, or he stayed quiet. I went with him to a writer's evening at this art school for American Indians. There were poets talking and writers reading their stories. A guy was reading from his book. He was from Bosnia. He was half drunk the whole time. He was real, and his writing was real. At the break, I heard him talking to the old guy. The Bosnian guy was crying, saying, "My wife, she lost the baby. I should have been with her." I could smell the liquor on his breath. I thought that was way cool, him showing all his feelings, all drunked up, reading at some school. Everyone was dressed casual. The old rich guy had me wear a short skirt, black stockings, high-heeled black boots. I stayed warm enough, had a big furry coat on. He rushed me home after he was so hard for me. Guess all that culture got him hot. I was surprised because he didn't seem hot for me all that day. He's got no heart, and if he does it, it's behind a brick wall or something. Not that he's mean. He has a smile on most of the time. Suits me to pay for company. Suits my nature, he said. He's different than other clients. He wants my company while he goes here and there. It was an easy job. I missed the baby, but I got to get out of the cold. He bought me clothes he liked me to wear, had me sleep in the same bed with him. Except that one night at the end, I don't much like sleeping with my clients. It's too personal. I would rather sleep on the pull-out couch he has upstairs the whole time, not just that last night. The bed was big and the sheets were clean, had 2 fluffy covers. He said they were down. They kept me real warm. He let me keep my clothes on a couple of times. Mostly he wanted me naked up against him so he could touch me. He fed me good. I like hamburgers and french fries, and he took me to places I could get that, places for other kinds of food too. All in all, it was a good trip. He paid for my driver ahead of time, the one taking me home from the airport. He's the same driver who took me to the airport when I left. The driver never talks to me no matter how long the airport ride takes. You wouldn't think he'd hire someone just to pick me up and drop me off, always the same guy. Like I said, the rich old guy, he's kind of old-fashioned. I think he likes it that I'm familiar, and also where's he going to get someone as young as me? How young I am is what turns him on. I don't remember. I'm not as young as my age anyway. I haven't felt young since I don't remember when. Even back when I was a kid, I was looking out of my own eyes. I was behind my own eyes, already like I am now, just smaller. It was the same me, the same me. It's a cold homecoming night. The temperature is 0. the driver's window keeps fogging up. Dear reader, so what's it like for you to get excited? Does it make you feel a little uncomfortable, a little worried about yourself? Do you wonder what it means to get excited knowing I am so young? And yet it's happening anyway, isn't it? Well, don't feel bad. It happens to the best of them. Do you ask yourself the important questions like, what if this was my daughter, my sister, or even my girlfriend, someone I really cared about? Do those questions make you want to protect me, take care of me? I get it, it's confusing. It is. Don't worry, just read on. Like they say in AA, feelings aren't facts. And also they say, just because you think it doesn't mean you have to do it. You know a lot about me now, about the baby, my mama and papa, that I've been poor and I need to do this for a living, that I don't especially like it, that a lot of it scares me, that I wear a locket with a picture of my baby and my cat hidden inside, so even when I'm naked I have my people with me. You're learning me. That's got to count for something, don't you think? Okay, I think I'm going to leave off there. So we're leaving off at the end of page 85, and I'll pick it up on page 86. And let me know what you think. Thanks for listening.